but we're wondering if you were born with those knowledge. So could you please explain to us? You're born with those knowledge, or how do you attain those knowledge? That's my question to you. You didn't explain on that part, sir.
How'd you get to know your faith?
Well, I would say that I got to learn to know my faith at two levels. One was from my mother. My mother was a very simple person, had a very simple faith. She was not extremely well educated, but she showed me the faith by how she lived the faith. I learned the meaning of sacrifice. I learned the meaning of self-gift from the witness and example of my mother. More than anything she could have explained about the faith, when I saw her going to work, she was a cardiac care nurse, working the graveyard shift, 11 p.m. to 7 a.m. That's when she wasn't working overtime, 11 to 11, with holes in her shoes and runs in her stockings. I'm sure she was embarrassed to go to work looking like that. But she did that because we needed stuff. The four of us kids, we needed stuff. And I saw how she struggled by herself when my dad left, how she struggled to make sure that we could have a Catholic education, that we had opportunities that she never had. So that's one way I learned the faith, watching the example of my mother, how she lived her faith. And we went to church every Sunday. No matter what, my mom would make sure that we got to church. The second was more of a formal education, right? So my undergraduate degree was economics and business. Right? But in studying for the diaconate, in theology. And when I was in graduate school, started learning theology more formally, the more I learned, the deeper I fell in love. Like when I was learning Hebrew and Greek, like, wait a minute, because when we were first learning those languages, like forget all that, just teach us the Bible. But then when you look at it in Hebrew, it's like, wait a minute, that's what that says? Wait, that's what that means? It's just, my mind just exploded, like, what? It is awesome how deep and rich and beautiful our faith is. So what happened was, the knowledge that I was learning about the faith started making a deeper connection with what I experienced with my mom in my heart. So my mom gave me the heart faith, the studies gave me the head faith, and I started to put those two things together. And so as far as sharing the faith, like I said, I was a cop. I was teaching at the police academy. I never thought about doing this, right? But here's the other piece that connected us together. So when I left my job in 2012, that was also Pope Benedict called for the year of faith. So in the year of faith, I took a leap of faith and left a 23-year career behind. Very successful at what I did. I left that all behind to follow Jesus. That same year, so I left my job June 30 June 2012. A few months later, I got invited to Australia to speak at a teacher in service for the Archdiocese of Perth. So I said, well, what? I got an invitation to Australia. Oh my, wow, this is great. So I'm excited to go. When I was preparing to go, I get an email from him. I don't know who he is, right? I got invited by a diocese to speak with teachers. All of a sudden he says, oh, Deacon, since you're coming all the way here, can you stay and give some talks on the other side of the country? I'm like, well, yeah, that's what I do now. I'm a speaker now, so sure. And so we met in Melbourne. That's the first city that we actually met in. And here's the connection with my mom now. I'll show you how God works. So when my mother married my father, my mother she was like 5'4", or that would be 1 point, I forget how many meters. So she was like this tall, okay? Very petite. She had 5 miscarriages. So back then they thought, oh, she may not be able to have kids. And so when she was pregnant with me, they put her on complete bed rest at the hospital. So my mother, who's the first Catholic in our family, by the way, she was a convert. She was Methodist, became Catholic, so she didn't have to be rebaptized. I'm the oldest, so I was actually the first baptized Catholic ever in the history of our family. So my mother was pregnant with me. She started praying to St. Jared, who's the patron saint of pregnant women. She said, through the intercession of St. Gerard, if you let this one live, you can have him. That was my mother's prayer. If you let this one live, you can have him. That was her prayer to God, right? So, through St. Gerard. So fast forward now. I meet Charbel. The first parish we go to is what? St. Gerard. On the feast day of St. Gerard, with the relics of St. Gerard on the altar in the church. So I got up to give the homily, and Charbel, I was emotional. I was almost crying, because I'm thinking, because of the intercession of this saint, I'm here. I'm here. Partly because of my mother's prayers through the intercession of this saint. And here I am in the church. Remember, my mom said, if you let this one live, you can have him. So now I spend my life traveling the world talking about Jesus. Come on. What? You see the connection? That's how God works. He weaves everything together. And here's the thing. Had that not happened with my father, I wouldn't be doing this now. So, yeah, do we want the divorce to happen? No. Was it painful? Yes. But God used all of those experiences. And it wasn't just an accident that he called me. Now we've traveled, we've been to 12 countries together, speaking and sharing the faith in Jesus Christ. That wouldn't have happened if my mom didn't have those miscarriages. Oh, you see what I'm saying? You see how God put it all together? Only God can do that. What? Bringing together two people from completely different parts of the planet to do the work that we're doing together now. You know? And for me coming to PNG. You know, let me say why I was so emotional the first time I came here. Most of the time when I'm speaking to people, most of the time they're white. Or most of the time they're Asian. Right? It's even in South Africa, when I toured South Africa, most of those people were white that came to the talks. When I came here the first time in Sir John Gui Stadium to preach to 4,000 black people, that was before. I never spoke to that many black people. I mean, I was like, yeah, I was like proud. These are my people. You know, seriously, yeah. And God put all of that together in only a way that God could. All Charbel and I did was say yes to his invitation. Like you said, we have free will. I chose to say yes. And God is just blessing the work that we're doing. You know, and we're just honored and thrilled to be back here again. And I hope we come back again. What I'd love to do, in thinking about the talks this morning and last night, it'd be great to come back and do like a apologetic series. Like where Charbel and I talk about like this morning I talked about why you have to go to a priest of confession. Let's talk a little more about the theology, the why, right? Go deeper, you know, especially not for the adults, for this age, for you guys. So you can have what you need to be able to go out there and really defend, like he did, right? He went back and taught this Muslim friend, well, here's why Jesus died, here's why. Now imagine when your Muslim friends or your Seventh-day Adventist friends, or your Assembly of God friends, your Jehovah's Witnesses friends challenge you about questions about your Catholic faith. Imagine if you could say, yes, well, here's what we believe and why we believe it. At your age, not wait until you can become adults. Be able to do that now. You know, not only will you be able to defend the faith, guess what? You'll never leave it. The number one thing I hear from parents around the world, my kids are leaving the church. My kids are leaving the faith. I don't know. And they got confirmed and they're still leaving. Imagine being able to know your faith and to love your faith so deeply that you will never leave it. That's what we're hoping to try to instill. I would love to come back and do something like that where we go deeper into the faith, like purgatory and all those teachings and Mary. You guys worship Mary? Like you got statues of Mary in your church. You know, that's idolatry. No, it's not. I'll give you a little answer to that right now. How many of you have pictures of your family on your phone or in your house? You worshiping them. No, you're not. They're just pictures of people that you love, members of your family. Well, guess what? Catholics, we're old school. We don't have pictures, we have statues, and we have icons, and we have stained glass windows. Right? So all we're doing is we have members of our family that we love, and we put pictures of them around our house. This is the house of God. We have pictures of our family members that we love around our house, just like you do. You're not worshiping them, are you? Neither are we. Simple, right? So to be able to equip you, to be able to respond and not just memorize facts about the faith, but to also make that transition to live that faith, right? That's not the future church, you're the church now. And to be able to give you those tools, to be able to speak intelligently and to live beautifully your faith at the same time. That is a beautiful gift. And so that would be our hope, that this next generation of Catholics learn more about this faith at an earlier age, so they'll be able to defend it and live it with passion and conviction.
Thanks, Deacon. A round of applause.